Hello, I'm FX Toycat, and what you might know is that in 1.13.0 for Minecraft Bedrock, abandoned villages finally came to the game. These are a 1 in 50 village type, where you can find some of the blocks replaced by cobwebs, and where you can find zombies roaming around the village. It's a super interesting village type that is pretty rare to find, but you might recall how one of the big quests we've had on Bedrock for the longest time was to find 7 blacksmiths in a single village. This is a 1 in several 100,000 chance that we only found 1 seed of so far, but here's the crazy thing. Imagine if you could find both these things in the same village. Yes, I'm not lying to you, this is a seed in Minecraft that contains 7 separate blacksmith chests in an abandoned village. That's right, no villages to deal with, but you do get a bunch of free loot across a bunch of different blacksmiths, and again, it's such an unbelievable fact, but it is in fact true that you can find 7 blacksmiths in an abandoned village with no villagers to guard it or to stop you from taking all of their wonderful stuff. That's what I'll be showing off on today's seed, which you can see on screen right now. If you type in this to your Minecraft Bedrock engine, exactly as you see it on screen right now, as you're going to see, it will create a world which looks a little bit like this. As you can see, it's a pretty standard tiger biome to spawn in. I would actually say this looks like a below average spawn at first, which is why I'm so impressed that Jedi Panda, that's really the person who sent in the seed, actually persevered with this one, because at first it just looks so bland, so dull, just a tiger and just an ocean to explore with. But trust me, it's worth spending a little bit of time and looking beyond, this spawn, because immediately right at the spawn, you're going to see how there is a village for you right here. It's not the abandoned village, but it's a pretty decent find regardless, I'd say. Because spawning in a plains village is not unheard of, spawning in a desert village is kind of rare. Spawning in a tiger village, or having one this close to spawn, is really, really useful because you can set up a, like a trading farm and have it be close to the spawn, which is one of those unchangeable factors about a Minecraft seed, which is, a pretty cool thing in my opinion. What you'll also spot is that this does contain a blacksmith chest. You can tell it's a blacksmith because, there's a blacksmith villager over here, a weaponsmith in this case. It's got grindstones out the front, and of course it's got a chest filled with pretty good loot. The loot is randomized, so sometimes you're going to get a lot of bread to make apple sandwiches or something, but for the most part it's like, yeah, you get yourself some free loot, which is usually much better than that. And even if you don't get free loot better than that, even if you just have bread, apples, and saplings, which are the worst tier loot you can get, imagine that, the worst loot you can get is free food, then the cool thing about this seed is that all you have to do is head a little bit this direction. You just have to head towards the plains biome. You'll see at the end of the tiger biome, and you're going to see how there's a pretty nice tiger biome that you might want to settle down with. Again, it's close to your village, it's close to your spawn, and it's also close to this right here. That's right, it's a pillager outpost. Who doesn't like seeing one of these? So this is a really maxed out pillager outpost too. Again, you can have sometimes a side building across from your pillager outpost. This has 4 side buildings, as you can see. There's a iron golem cage without the iron golem. There's 3 of these little things, all of which have crafting tables, and then there's the main structure itself. So that's a pretty nice rare coincidence. It's a pretty hostile coincidence, but who doesn't love taking these things down? And because this is found in a plains biome with a pretty decent amount of space nearby it, there's even some sunflowers here if you really want, but it's found in a pretty decent biome, which in my opinion means that what you could do with this is if you wanted to do, say, a recycling challenge where you destroyed this and built into your own thing, I think this would be the perfect place for it. Again, we've done lots of recycling challenges on this channel before, as you can see on screen right now, but if you wanted to do one for a more reasonable structure that would only take, a few hours as opposed to like half of a day or something, this is a pretty decent recycle challenge that also has these as like a permanent record that there was a thing nearby here. I think that's a great idea, but if you disagree and you think fun is no good for you, then boy are you gonna hate what you find to the north here, because it's a flower forest. Again, a pretty nice niche rare biome that has all of the flowers to make your survival experience a little better. How wonderful, how nice, right? But again, the reason we're heading through this flower forest, which is very great and definitely worth checking out, if you want to find it and you're confused at this video, you can always check the coordinates in the top left, because on Bedrock they're always there, and yeah, you can find this giant flower forest which is just filled to the brim with different flower types for different dye types, or even if you just want to make a really nice pretty flower garden, it's great like that. But guess what, the thing at the start of the video was not a lie. We are in fact going there right now, because found just 500 blocks away from spawn in each direction, you're going to find this right here. It's an abandoned village, and it's not just any abandoned Minecraft village, which is pretty cool by itself. It's an abandoned Minecraft village just filled to the brim with zombies and with houses. You can see how, like, oh yeah, there are so many structures around this, and all of the structures are built in really weird places, like on top of mountains and stuff like that, so you can actually go inside them if you kill the zombies and get yourself some free iron nuggets or spruce saplings or ferns and stuff. But the reason we're talking about this village today is because it's really exciting for another reason. You know, not just the random miscellaneous chests, the random miscellaneous beds, and the zombies, which, let's be honest, maybe it's good experience, but maybe you hate fighting these guys because you know they look like the trading villagers and you feel bad for them. You're like, oh, what happened to you, man? Something zombie outbreak scares you. Maybe that's your opinion, but the wonderful thing about this village is that it contains more of these blacksmith chests. So you remember how I said 7 blacksmiths was something we spent months searching for, and it was only after those months that someone eventually found one. It was the most amazing thing. Well, what you might spot is these blacksmith chests are actually found not only once in this village, not only twice in this village, not only thrice in this village, but also if we head over to the other side over here, you can see how there is a 4th blacksmith, you can see how there is a 5th blacksmith, and you know, that'd be pretty cool already. But here's a 6th blacksmith, and you know, you can work out by the fact that I've rested 7 in the title and already twice in this video, here is a 7th blacksmith as well. This is absurdly insane to see on one village seed, because again, the amount of things you can find, the quality of the things you can find in here, it's just guaranteed to be good. Even if you get apples and bread from 6 of the chests, again, just statistically speaking, eventually you'll end up with some diamonds. Eventually, you'll end up with some horse armor or some pickaxes and just some things that are going to really improve the outlook on your Minecraft world. And yeah, it's wonderful to me that you can find this stuff. It's also, technically speaking, a little easier to access all the loot because obviously it's a zombie village. What happened here, the lore explanation is that the Minecraft zombies knocked down the doors and then they took over the village, but a long time ago. So long ago that cobwebs have formed. But because of that, you can see how there's no doorways, which means if you want to check out what's in the blacksmith, you know how easy it is to do? All you gotta do is just walk in through the doorway. You don't have to go through the doorway. You can open these from the outside in a way that's slightly easier. So if you're opening 7 blacksmith chests, which is so much effort, I know, you can save yourself a lot of time because no doors need to be open. So, you know, sucks for the villagers that they had their entire livelihood burned down and that, you know, everything they know and love is now gone. But it's pretty useful for you because you don't have to open doors. So as if this wasn't a cool enough coincidence by itself, the fact that there's a tiger village which looks this cool already, happens to be abandoned, that 1 in 50 chance, happens to have this super rare coincidence of having not 1 blacksmith, not 2 blacksmiths, but 7 of them all in one place. Again, the absurd odds on this are hard to really go over, but then on top of that, there's some other cool things around here, such as all of this sand which spawns floating, which means all you have to do is break 1 block of it, and then you start a chain reaction, and I don't know, I find these fun wherever they spawn. To have one right next to a tiger village, especially this super rare tiger village, always a nice thing, but it gets better than that because this is actually also a coastal tiger village. You know, if the coast had generated just 100 blocks inland further, all of this would have never happened, which is a cool coincidence by itself, but it means that you get yourself just the north here, a small savanna biome, one of the smaller ones I've seen in quite some time on the Bedrock edition where biomes are huge, and then also you're going to get yourself a pretty huge desert, and everyone knows what desert means. It means access to desert village, it means access to desert temples. You can see one just over there in the distance, but then also it means access to a savanna village. So yeah, if you want all of the types of villages, the seed's got you covered, because you might have also spotted much earlier. So while I was looking at the pillager outpost earlier, those of you with a keen eye might have spotted in the far distance over there, there's actually an NPC village, and it's a village which is found in a plains biome. So again, plains villages aren't something to celebrate and be like, oh yeah, I hated everything else about this seed, but the plain village there is nice. But to know that there's another village from another village type is always something that's kind of useful if you like collecting them all. And just like the previous villages, it actually is pretty sizable too, which is always nice. It's got trees everywhere, maybe you chop them down, maybe you build more trees and you make it a forest village. I'm not in charge of you. I can just tell you that there's also another cool thing, because from here you can see the pillager outpost again, but you can also see another pillager outpost, which is kind of shocking in my opinion. Because this pillager outpost is found just over here in the water of a lake. Again, it spawned in like the the kind of flat part of this, but it very almost spawned in the river, or rather a few blocks of it did, which means you get this kind of weird above water version of a pillager outpost. And again, some people like to turn these into weird structures, as we learned recently, or like weird farms, I should say. And yeah, if you want to do that, this is the perfect one for you. Look, it's even got 2 pillagers with the banners for reasons. And yeah, also random set of loot, can contain crossbows, but you're mostly here to set some more farm off, or just to really appreciate the water views that these guys get on their day-to-day basis. Or maybe you hate that because it makes them harder to fight. If they get in the water, your life is going to be a lot harder. So, you know, a little bit of nice, a little bit of bad. Is that not everything on Earth, though? I think you'll find it is. And that is the point of Seed Sunday, to show you these wonderful seeds with all of these weird, interesting little things. And actually, that brings us almost full circle back to another tiger village near the tiger biome you spawned with. This one also has blacksmiths, by the way. But yeah, basically, this is a really decent seed, in my opinion, that starts with a really bad impression, but I'm glad that Jedi Panda stuck through a little bit. And indeed, anyone else who wants to send a seed, make sure you do it by... And indeed, if you have a good seed that you stuck with, or you found a good seed that's immediately good from spawn, and you want to send it in because a lot of people have been like, hey, Toycat, I like your Seed Sunday thing, but I think I might have found something, that you would appreciate. Send it to @ToyCatA on Twitter. You can DM them, you can just tweet it publicly, whichever way you prefer. I know a lot of people want to message things privately in the world. You can do it, you can send it to them, and then they can send me the best ones. That's like the system we're working with. There's been so many seed recommendations recently, but a lot of people send seeds that aren't particularly interesting, and the point of Seed Sunday is to show you seeds that are particularly interesting and worth checking out in some way. And that's right, we're doing our outro as our intro today. What are you going to do about it? I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did, give it a share if you really like these insane odds, and subscribe if you're around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if subscribed, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.